Hello, everyone. My name is Valdrin and I'm the senior analyst for Being Crypto. So today with me we have Ankit, who is our community manager and trader. But unfortunately, Constantine wouldn't join, but he will join the next session. Yeah, today we're gonna talk about the Bitcoin halving event and how it will affect the price. So basically, for those that don't know, new bitcoins are issued by the network every 10 minutes, and initially that number was 50. So basically, every 10 minutes, each block, 50 new bitcoins were created, and every 4 years, that number is cut in half. So in the second halving, so in the first halving, the number of Bitcoin fell to 25, and then it fell to 12.5, and then to 6.25. So in the next halving, which is on April 2024, the block reward will drop from 6.25 Bitcoin per block to 3.125 Bitcoin per block. So, I mean, it's a very important event because it basically decreases the amount of Bitcoins that are generated per block. And therefore, the supply of new Bitcoins is lower. And in turn, this makes buying more expensive due to the potential supply shock. Since, like, obviously, normal market having a lower supply with the same demand will lead to higher prices. So the reason I'm gonna share my chart now. Sorry, just a second. Okay, so the reason why this is important is that historically it has preceded massive bull runs. So the first halving actually occurred very close to the bottom, but just TA wise, I wouldn't put that much thought into it just because there wasn't that much price data. It was that original bull run from 1 cent to 25 bucks or whatever, and then a drop. But the other ones have been very interesting. So in both cases, the bottom was reached maybe a little more than a year before the halving. So 547 days in the first one, and then 517 days in the second one. So since April is the next one, and the low was reached in November, if that was the low, then it would be 5 7 days again, basically. So if we haven't reached the low yet, and say that we reach it next week, right? We just have this massive drop that takes us to 15K. That would still be 366 days. So basically a year before the halving, which would be by far the shortest amount of time. And considering that, like, I mean, there is no certainty, but like we probably won't reach a new low next week. And if we were to reach a new low, it would probably take like a month at least. Just going by the previous two halvings, it really would make sense that the bottom has been reached, because if we do reach it sometime next month, then we really won't have that much time until the event. So again, this 517 day period would make a lot more sense. So again, just making a prediction based on these two movements, like the most likely scenario to me, I know, would be something like a continued increase prior to the halving, then another fall which creates a higher low, and then a massive bull run. I mean, that is what has usually happened. So I mean, here we didn't even have sort of a massive crash. I guess if we compare the 2015-16, so the first one, the movement was more like this. I'll just use a brush, I think it's easier. So we had like one high, and then we had a slightly higher low. So basically we had this one. And then we had a gradual increase, which like accelerated after halving. And then the 2021 was slightly more different because The original run continued for longer, so basically like this. Then we had a higher low, sorry, and gradual increase and then massive pump. But if you remember this one, this massive long lower wick, if you traded back then, or if you followed the market, this is a Corona crash, so it's sort of a black swan event. Like I'm assuming that the chart wouldn't look like this because like this wick is massive, is by far the longest wick on a higher low. I mean, this one is also long, but um, it got followed the next week anyways. So yeah, but just going on the movement from the previous two events, and then just considering the fact that the supply of new Bitcoin becomes less and less. So basically, if you have a chart of, I can find another net, but it's something like this. So if you have a, sorry, basically this being time and this being the supply of Bitcoin, the supply would be something like this, right? So it gets closer and closer to zero as time goes by. So first halving would be here, second here, third here, fourth here, right? Because so like I said in the beginning, first we had the sorry, so at first having 50 to 25 BTC per block, second one 25 to 12.5, third one 12.5 to 6.25, the next one, the fourth one, will be 6.25 to 3.125, and then we'll go 3.125 to 1.50625, I think, if my math is correct, right now, or 5625, I guess. It doesn't matter, but the point is like the massive drop was from 50 to 25, and now we're approaching that point where so like the decreasing marginal return curve. And yeah, but basically that's it. So historically, the massive bull run started after the halving, and the bottom was reached roughly 1.5 years prior to the event. So if the same thing happens now, then the bottom is already in. Bitcoin obviously will have a pretty significant drop eventually, but that will only create a higher low, as was the case in August 2015 and then March 2020. And after that, yeah, the rate of increase will probably accelerate, and then it can probably go parabolic after the event. Yeah, so those are my thoughts in regard just to the price action regarding preceding the halving and succeeding it in the three previous events. Yes, I'll give it to Ankit now.
Okay, thanks, Valdrin. I'll just share my screen now. Uh, Now I have two perspectives that I want to share. First is the technical perspective of BTC, and the second one is about the halving. I'll take the halving one first, if that is okay. Uh, so I guess my screen is visible now. So talking about the weekly chart here for the halving, I have drawn this range here for BTC, which it was quite exactly following it and kind of ranging between it. We had an upper deviation here and a downside deviation here, and it continued in that range. And this was the 2020 halving which we had, and it ranged in it for quite a while. And after it broke out, it never seen a, uh deviation inside of this range again. So this was 55 bars around 385 days. which it uh, had 13 inch below the range before the the downside deviation happened, and when it broke inside that range again. So this was 385 days before the halving, and now we are in the similar situation here also. Now I am taking this one also as a upside deviation. Now there are two deviations, but there are I have a reasoning for that because there was a bearish divergence here. So until this deviation would have been breaking above the highs of this one, the bearish divergence still counts, and we had a break inside the range again, which inside which it was trading, and we had a downside deviation again. So I guess if we have to talk about just similarities between the previous and uh, the current situation of BTC before the halving, I guess we might be getting inside this range again, which is 30K level, which I have talked about in the open channel, and technically also 32K is the resistance level which needs to be broken, and this is the bottom side of this range. So I guess if we break inside this, maybe we have some kind of a ranging here like we got before if the history has to repeat, and we finally break out of this, which is 50K, around 51, 52K. 50K we can be lenient about the weekly time frame. So 51K, 52K doesn't matter as much. So I think maybe if we, before the halving, we can range inside this 50K to 30K level probably, and after we break into that range, obviously. So we have exactly 385 days here. We have exactly 385 days here. So it is not very uncommon for BTC to range after a very drastic drop. Yeah, this was the drop which we had, and there was a pretty harsh range here, and this was a pretty hard drop here in June, and we have a pretty harsh uh, ranging side here, very long period for ranging for BTC, and it is not very new that BTC ranges after a very harsh drop. So it can range, and after it is reclaiming that range, which it was trading inside, and we can see some upside to 50K maybe probably. So I'll talk about the technicals in a minute. So maybe if I have to say that if history has to be taken into consideration about the halving, and we get a price action inside the range, there are some similarities that the upper deviation was there, the downside deviation was there, the range was maintained, and after it broke into that, it never broke below, and maybe we see the same price action happening in the near future. I can say it a near future, but it's uh, an year of 1 year of price action for 2024. So maybe we'll see what happens, but I guess sorry, I guess we can take history into consideration for that. Second thing which I would like to talk about BTC would be uh, the technical side of it. I'll talk about the monthly and the weekly and the daily side of the things. Let me stop this one and share another one. Uh, this is this one. Okay, I guess you can see my screen now. So this is the monthly chart for BTC. which I have had for a while now. Uh, BTC uh, has been very bullish, as you can see on the monthly chart. The monthly resistance, which was around 23.3K level, has been seemingly been broken. We have 4 days, around 4 days, 4 days, 10 hours to be exact, to close this monthly candle, and I think this is a convincing break in the monthly resistance level. So, talking about, and we do not see any deviations on the monthly level. If history is to be taken into consideration, we do not see much of deviations on the monthly level. It is the utmost level where we, sorry, where we do not see any deviations, and it can be taken as a, as a pivot where the the price is supposed to, when it's broken out once, it generally goes in that direction. So I think the monthly level has been convincingly been broken. We will have a confirmation in 4 days and 10 hours to be precise. But until we see a very, very drastic drop, we are not getting into a bearish trade, in my opinion. So, talking about the weekly chart, okay, let me remove that for now, which is most apt on the daily one. I don't know. Okay, okay, sorry. So, the weekly level, which was around 24 3K, 24 300, has been completely shattered, and we had some resistance here, and this was uh, the retest of the level, which never went to my actual buy point at 19.3K, which makes it even more bullish, because when BTC is bullish, it generally doesn't give an entry to, the actual buy points. It doesn't really give an entry there. So it generally just consolidates and just goes. And if it is giving an entry, it will make you bearish, and then it will, rise from that level. So it is a basic thing for BTC to do, and I think that is what is making BTC more bullish for me. That it never gave a perfect entry. If we were to actually buy at the bottom, we couldn't have bought it, because it never retested the level, and it's about 1% or 1.5% around a deviation from the actual buy level. So that actually makes it bullish. But talking about level to level wise, the weekly level, which was at around 24.3, has been completely shattered, and we have closed above it. We have made a doji here, which is an undecided candle, so can't really be sure about it. But the bearish divergence which we had on weekly was shattered here at this candle, and we are above the 50 MA level, 50 RSI level. So I guess that is quite bullish thing for BTC to do. Now, as you can see, we had a bunch of lower highs and lower lows which were made, and we finally have had a higher high. This was the higher, this was the lower high, and this was the lower high. We made a higher high here, and now we have completely broken the market structure for the bullish side. So bearish side of things have been, demolished in my opinion. So I guess BTC is mid-term bullish, or maybe long-term bullish, if it closes above this 32K level, which is, the weekly resistance, and there is a monthly resistance level at 35K, which are my intermediate targets for the bull run. For I think these two levels should be tested in the near future. If this rally has to be a trend-setting rally, because after making the market structure like that, you can't really be uh, thinking about the bearish scenario, and when it is bullish at the monthly level, uh, I really can't be bearish on BTC for now. Maybe daily can be confusing because most of the noise is generated from the lower time frames, and it can be confusing for traders. But I guess talking about monthly and the weekly level, BTC is absolutely bullish for me, and I won't be thinking otherwise until this weekly or monthly level is gone. There can be a retest. I can absolutely, you know, can't be exactly be saying that BTC is going to, just go, but because it is an unexpected, you know, uh, thing to happen, but I can expect, maybe a correction towards the weekly level at 24.3, or probably can happen, but I don't, if because I'm very, very bullish on BTC, and if I have to talk about the daily chart, I had, talked about it in the open group also. This cluster resistance area was the one that had to be tested after we get a confirmed break, and this was the level which I had made this descending channel which I had made, and we didn't cross it here, and we got a false breakout from the range which BTC had maintained, and we got a correction, but we never touched the actual buy level. But that's how BTC is now. After this level was broken, as you can see on this candle on the daily on 16th March, and we had a absolute uh, wreckage. We can say absolute carnage for BTC, and it just went and went. So my underside target for the cluster resistance level, which was 28.6, was hit. And I think if BTC has to make a trend setting, rally, if this is the rally that sets a trend, I don't think BTC should be going under this level, which I have made from the low of this candle to the high of this one. So I think this is the level which should not be broken to the downside on the daily closing. And if it is, like, the price is just going down from here, but if this is broken on the downside for BTC and on the daily closing, we can see a retest of this weekly level at 24.3K, maybe a retest of this descending channel, and maybe we see something like, there are only two scenarios that I can see happening. The first one would be BTC just going from here, breaking this one, maybe probably retesting it, maybe going to the monthly level then. And that one, or and finally breaking it to the upside. That monthly level should be broken to the upside. This will be the first scenario that uh, I have in my mind, and I think should be happening. But there is another one which makes BTC test this level and then finally goes to the upside. That would be the second scenario that I have. Maybe I should change the colors so you can see it distinctively. So these are the two scenarios that I have in my mind that which I think can be happening in the future. But talking about, this is just the daily time frame, and the noise can happen, and it's not very, you know, we don't have a magic ball to, just justify that this is going to happen. But this is the talking about the weekly and the monthly level, which are extremely bullish, in my opinion. These are the only two scenarios that I think should be working out. So for the day traders and the people who are trading on the daily time frame, I would suggest, if this green box is lost on the daily closing, I would be uh, probably be buying at this level at around 24.3, 24.5. But maybe I would be happy if this level is not tested again, because I don't want BTC to test this level and give a perfect entry for the bulls. And maybe we see a deviation. Maybe this just breaks below and reclaims it again and doesn't test 24.3K level, and that would be hugely bullish. That would be the ultimate sign for bullishness for BTC on the daily time frame. Uh, so that are my thoughts on BTC for now, on the technical side, and also for, you know the halving of it. Over to you, Walter.
Thanks a lot for that extensive analysis, Ankit. I actually have extremely similar views to you, to be honest, with Bitcoin. So, like, I, I mean, and we don't have that much time, and I don't think it's like worth giving the same analysis, maybe with slightly different, um, guess maybe small differences. But one thing that I was looking at, and I actually even wanted to ask you, Ankit. So, like, when you're looking at it, let's say in like the, I don't know, maybe the weekly or the daily, but so yeah, like you said, the bearish structure has definitely been broken, right? Because we had the lower highs here, right? And now we have higher highs. But do you consider, I'm torn in this one actually, like, do you consider this a higher low? Or do you think that we're like move a little more and then create like a longer term higher low somewhere here? Or if this is like, let's say, the higher low that just like takes us to a new massive move. So meaning, do you think that this, I think this is like my, I'm kind of leaning on the first one. So basically the way I'm seeing it right now is that, is this log? No, it's not. Okay, so this move has corrected, right? So here's the way I'm seeing it. This move has corrected. Even though the correction was short in time, like this move has corrected. And now this is a new move, right? So sure, this move might correct, but it will correct to like its own fib levels, right? And my alternative would be that this is still just one move, and it will eventually correct to like its own fib, right? So probably go slightly lower. So which one do you agree more with? I mean, it's not a big difference when I see it, because like here the fibs are between 20k 800 and 22.4, and here they're like 23.24. So it's like a 10% at most difference. But yeah, I'm leaning on this first one definitely. So on this one, meaning that this move is done. We corrected this move, and now a new move began. Sure, we might correct this one soon, but then we like rip through.
See, I have a, actually, about talking about the fib levels, maybe I should present it. Uh, Let me share my screen here. Okay, let me remove this. The thing about the lower highs, which you just asked, the lower low, I do not consider, talking about the weekly level, I do not consider the VIX to be, to for consideration for the lower highs and the lower lows because I consider just the candle close. So this, for me, this wasn't a lower low after this high was made here. And actually, this was also not the high because the high here at 24.3K was never broken on this candle. So maybe the wick had made a higher high on the weekly, but the wicks are should not be considered high in my opinion. So I consider the only the candle closes. So this is the first time that the market structure has been broken. Although I had advocated in the past that the market structure had been broken for this one because this was the lower high which was made, and I think this was the higher high which was breaking this higher high. This which was breaking this lower high which was made here. So this was the higher high here, but it's not in comparison to this one, but it is comparison to this one. So in my opinion, the market structure was broken at this candle only. So I guess this is not the one that should be taken into consideration until this lower low is broken. So until this one is broken, I don't think this is actually of that of at I won't consider this as a low which has been made. So talking about the fib levels which you have been suggesting, I guess yes, we had a let me clear this. Uh, we had a correction. If we see this one, we had a if we see from the bottom of it to the top of it, we have actually gone below the 0.55 level. So the golden ratio was this one. It made bearish on people. It made people bearish here, but it was actually the bottom. So, and this is the correction which we have had. And we can actually, you are absolutely right. We can have a correction to this level, zero point 0.5 to 0.61 level, which is the golden ratio, and we can have that correction. But I actually uh, don't really like seeing the daily as much right now because it's actually confusing to me. Because I actually tried giving longs here when we have been because I was, taking very short time frame into consideration, and I hit my stop loss twice actually on BTC. So, I don't really want to, get indulged in, very short time frames. And speaking about the daily, it is not very, it's not very conclusive because we have a, you know, if I have to remove this, if I have to remove this, and the price has moved up, and we have a bearish divergence here on the daily. Okay, and it's always been like this that I am very confused about BTC on the daily, and the price is moving up, and we have a bearish divergence, and it's broken to the upside when we least expect it, and you know, so I just go level to level wise, and if as I have said, this is the level to hold for BTC. If this has to be trend setting, thing, trend setting rally. So I don't think we uh, have much of choice, but to wait and watch. But bias wise, I won't be considering you know even if someone has bought here, even if someone has bought after this move, saw this was a level and someone bought here, I wouldn't be asking him to sell and get out of the trade, because I would be actually if I had bought here, I would be actually buying some more here and trying to average my price down and see if there is a close below this level at the monthly, and I would be closing there, because we do not actually have a stop loss area for this. If I have to give a long here, I do not have actually a stop loss area below, because it can easily, you know, get below this level, get here, maybe a wick, maybe we form a candle like this, and we have a wick, something like we form a wick like this, and it still closes inside. I should make a green candle of it. Maybe if we have something like this, maybe the next candle forms like this. We have a wick below this level. We wreck all the longs. The stop losses are, wrecked, and the liquidity below this level has been taken out, and we just close above it and, just pierce out, because the daily can do that. The daily candle can do that, and the weekly will still be bullish, and the monthly is already very bullish. So I don't want to uh, read too much into the lines until my level is broken, the level of support is broken. So I don't want to just have to see that if the thesis is proven wrong, I'll just uh, get into that. But until that is happening, I don't want to make an assumption that this can happen or that can happen. So maybe I'm talking too much, and
No, 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 no. It's just
maybe
that no, we've went over our limit. Actually, we're like at 38 minutes. I don't know if the YouTube will
oh
or
I,
the algorithm, but yeah. No, thanks a lot for that. It was very helpful, and I think the people enjoyed it. Uh, but yeah, that was the session for today. Thanks to everyone who joined, and yeah, we will see you next week. So have a nice
see
day.
ya guys, see ya.